Hello, Eastview family. Happy New Year and happy first Wednesday of the new year. Thanks for tuning in today to spend some time in God's Word. We really hope that these daily devotionals are helping you to reflect on God's Word, God's character, and that they are encouraging you in your walk with Christ. Today we are talking about betrayal. Betrayal can be a painful experience that cuts deep into our souls and leaves wounds that seem impossible to heal. Now, I don't know if you have experienced any kind of betrayal in your life, maybe by a friend, a spouse, a family member, a coworker. It is a painful thing to experience when trust is broken, even more so by someone who is close to you. We see this in our passage this week. We are back to John's Gospel, chapter 18, verses 1 to 14. Jesus, surrounded by his closest disciples, faced this. Judas, one of his trusted companions, chose to betray him with a kiss, a loving act twisted into a tool of deceit. Now, for most of us, betrayal often comes least expected, striking at the core of our relationships, and this is what makes it so painful. But for Jesus, how much more so, knowing full well all the details of his upcoming betrayal, arrest, and crucifixion. Yet in the face of such betrayal, Jesus does not retaliate or seek vengeance. He perseveres with an unwavering commitment to his mission and God's will. How did he do this? Jesus knew that falsehood and betrayal would not have the final say. He saw beyond the act of betrayal to the greater purpose of redemption. He was not taken by surprise. He was in full knowledge of all the events coming to him and was a willing, voluntary sacrifice. The suffering servant, as Paul David Tripp describes in his book, New Morning Mercies. The suffering servant who in his suffering would save us from ourselves and finally from our suffering. His suffering is our salvation. His suffering is our hope. It's challenging to find hope in betrayal. But Jesus teaches us that hope doesn't stem from denying the pain, but from acknowledging it and choosing a higher road. We also know that God sees all, knows all, and is in control of all. And when we have been wronged, it isn't unseen by him. Proverbs 19:5 says this, "A false witness will not go unpunished, and he who breathes out lies will not escape." We may be tempted to lash out, to get back at that person who hurt us. We may be tempted to hold grudges, but God calls us to walk a higher path. We can learn to place our trust not in people's faithfulness, but in God's faithfulness, his unchanging nature. And when betrayal strikes, it's an opportunity to deepen our trust in God, the ultimate faithful and trustworthy one. Jesus' response to betrayal challenges us to reframe our perspectives. Rather than dwelling on the hurt and allowing bitterness to grow, we can follow Jesus' example by choosing forgiveness, compassion, and perseverance. And in doing so, we unearth a hope that transcends our circumstances, a hope firmly rooted in God's promises. Now, in moments of betrayal, let's look to Jesus as our example. Let's anchor our hope in God's unwavering faithfulness. As we do, may we discover the strength to navigate through the pain, finding healing and restoration in God's unending love and grace.